on horror shows, are you interested in the macabre? For example, Ed Gaines, that new Netflix series. What about Eric Menendez and Lyle Menendez? And why are we interested in the macabre? So, welcome to Lasha's Take, and that is what we are going to be discussing tonight. Let's start off with Ed Gaines. There are so many mistruths about Ed Gaines, apparently, and I watched a documentary on YouTube. And if you type in the truth about Ed Gaines, you can find out the untruths in the Netflix series Monster. Not Monster as in the Lyle and Menendez monster, but the other one, the monster. And it talks about this man named Ed Gaines who inspired movies such as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Silence of the Lambs, and many more. And I've always been fascinated with murder trials, horror stories, even that live I conducted in reference to Into the Fire about adoption and how this biological mother gave her daughter up for adoption into the hands of an adopted family that murdered her at the age of 14. And I'm thinking to myself, why? Why was I so interested in that? So I just want to start off, and the reason I'm talking about this tonight is based on everything that I've talked about. If you've been keeping track of my podcasts in any way, shape, or form, you'll know that I've been talking about a spiritual war. And I look to myself, a spiritual war between good and evil. And these men, like Ed Gaines and Scott Peterson, and wasn't there another Peterson uh, that put his wife down the stairs and they still don't know what happened? And there's unsolved murder mysteries. Look at it was Lacey Peterson, and oh gosh, what about that crazy man that would just went to jail, and it looks like he has um like teeth tattooed on each side of his smile, and it's almost as though I couldn't even look at the camera because it was as if I was looking at pure evil. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to be careful what I put into the world and what my thoughts are, because these are my thoughts, they're private thoughts. But I think about the OJ trial, and he should have been in jail from day one. And people that were on the jury set him free as payback for Rodney King. In fact, I did a short, Trevor will remember this, and it went something like this. On the first day OJ was in jail, and the Menendez brothers, they were next door there. And then LA broke down, and everyone frowned, and Rodney King was on his knees. And then I went into another bit, and then I said, and the jury admitted that the verdict of innocent was payback for Rodney King. And when you watch all of these murder trials, all of the political jargon that goes on behind them, But then I'm thinking truly about this Ed Gaines and that show Manhunter. Hi there, Donnie 999. Hi there, Zach Keeper. Albert Fish. I haven't heard about Albert Fish. And like the Jeffrey Dahmers and the Ted Bundys and oh my gosh, and the Jeffrey Epsteins and Candace Owens talks about perverts running the world and dee dee dee. And you know what? It's all true. But here's my question. We can sit around and talk and discuss, and I love that. And I want to talk about movies and how Mindhunter, really studied these men to learn out what psychopaths are and killers and everything. Psycho killer, escasay. Okay, now this is my big subconscious moment coming to consciousness. That's why I call it the rap family or the rap community, because I always love to welcome, respect aspects of people, and I try to unwrap who they are because I do believe there is humanity in all of us. So there's 2 points I want to make. Why I'm obsessed with the macabre and why I'm going to try to veer away from it, and how the traditional macabre, like Ed Gaines and all of the horror movies that were built on uh, Chainsaw Massacre, Silence of the Lambs, etc., and me talking about Candace Owens and perverts running the world, is because I believe that the macabre have now evolved into amazing psychopaths that run this world, and they're no longer serial killers. They're our politicians, they're our decision makers. And when you think about it, the Menendez brothers, why are they still in jail? Why didn't Gavin Newsom or the governor of whoever let them go? Haven't they been in jail long enough? I mean, I've had some pretty horrific things happen to me, but I would never shoot anybody. However, I'm also not a man. And also, like, women have killed their husbands because of abuse. So, what's the difference? Battered women syndrome. Like, who makes these rules? And then everybody always talks about the issues with plastic. Well, don't buy it then. We need to learn how to grow our food and all of that. But what I'm trying to say is all of these horror films and all of these serial killers and all of that, we went from hunters and gatherers to being placed in a society that slowly, slowly moved. Now we live in cyberspace. I'm trying to differentiate, like, is it God that's running us? Is there a plan for all of us? Or is it aliens? Or is it an energy? Because, when I was watching, and then the adoption issue, this is one thing that I really want to say before I forget. For anybody out there who is pro choice, sorry, pro life, and you have time to stand in front of a clinic, and for all of you in America that are pro choice, great. Then you can all adopt one of the babies that, right? So if everybody wants and everybody thinks that pro choice is wrong and pro life is the way, then open your homes and take a baby, and then that'll stop the abortion issue. But maybe some women don't want to have birth, and that would be none of anybody's business anyways. So that would solve that. Also, the immigrant issue. If you're pro immigrant, hell, let them come live into your house then. And if you're not pro immigrant, then don't. And then don't disagree about what to do or disagree on. What I'm trying to say is we talk about these things and what do we do about them? So all I'm saying is you don't hear about a lot of serial killers anymore. That's because they've all evolved. Like Ted Bundy, he could have been a really good lawyer if he knew how to, but he was something evil. He was like a chameleon that could change into something else. And then I heard the sickest thing in the world. I'm not going to say who, but somebody told me that rich people, and I heard this on Andrew Gold Heretics, they sacrifice and drink, and I can't even say it, it's too macabre. But the reason I think people get fascinated with the macabre is because it's so far away from your consciousness. You're trying to figure it out. It's like when you have a friend and then they turn out to be a con person. And you're like, how did that happen? Right? Like a narcissist. And now narcissism is becoming more and more exposed, just like child abuse. Like, do you really think that these guys deserve to be in? Oh, no, sorry, he died. He died. He died too. He not dead. And here's my question too. Do you think that, hi there, you're cozy? Is this real? I'm not a pro-immigrant. What's that? Oh, that's the Menendez brothers. I was just talking about the macabre and how there aren't a lot of serial killers anymore. And my theory is since the 70s, 80s, and now we're into 2025, you notice that Ted Bundy, I was just going to use as an example, could have been a really good lawyer because he was really smart, because he was a psychopath. And our instincts from evolution, if that's what you believe in, or if you believe we came from Adam and Eve, that's cool too. But from evolution, from what I believe, we went to hunters, gatherers, then society and rules were posed on us. Then there were leaders. I'm sure there were always leaders of a tribe, but now, like perverts and really rich, gross, entitled, sick people are running this world. And I think psychopathy has evolved instead of a serial killer going crazy. It's just kind of evolved into something really creepy. And to me, it's our politicians. Like why Bill Clinton isn't in jail, I'll never understand. Hell, Hillary should be along with him. Seriously. That's what I was talking about. And then what is our fascination with the macabre? Well, that's kind of slowly goes away sometimes, and then you get other interests. So now our interests are in these psychopathic politicians. And politics is just a bloody show. Like, my personal feeling is that Ivanka Trump is going to run for president next. And um, Donald Trump will run for vice president because I really think they had something to do with CK, and I think they were like 007s, and they did something. Because do you think that that orange orangutan would let anybody be involved? Why did Ivanka marry Jared Kush and convert to Judaism? Go to Candace Owens to find out that. Anyways, that's what I kind of wanted to unwrap, and I kind of want to know what you all think. They gunned their parents for well, I don't know. I don't know. The other thing about letting them out, and I was thinking of both sides of the coin, like, why is it that somebody else's hands are over our lives? If we could just all be civilized with each other, it would be a perfect world. And I am far from a fucking perfect person, but I'm just saying, I just, they're also very institutionalized. So what would they know how to do when they came out? Like, you don't know. But then at the same time, could you imagine being AR'd by your father over and over? I just, I just try to believe there's humanity in everybody. That's all. Anyways, thanks for sticking around, and thank you for whoever hit like or if you subscribed. I so appreciate it. And who came by tonight? Thank you, Zookeeper. Oh, by the way, Zookeeper, there is a movie, Alberta Fish. We can talk about Alberta Fish. Zookeeper. There is a movie called The Zookeeper's Wife. It's a true story starring Jessica Chastain, okay? And she hides Jewish people and they're German, okay? Hi, Donnie. You're cozy? My mom's 75, so I'm really enjoying this time with her right now. So you're cozy. I'm going to go cozy up with my mom. Thank you for your opinion on immigration. And thank you to MRAB. And I do agree with you. I wouldn't be able to do that. It's serial killers is usually three, just like science. If three, it's like what that movie Concussion when what's his name? Will Smith, back in his heyday, he played that Kenyan guy who discovered that concussed disease, CTE, that football players get. That's why I don't watch football, y'all, because I don't want and I don't like watching men smash their heads together. I just don't. What else? Oh, I'm Canadian, by the way. My name's Lasha. Where am I? There I am. I was just sitting out wondering. Hi, Persian Empire, Charlie. Hello. So, um, thank you for stopping by. And I was just pondering life a little bit today, and that's me today. I just don't feel like going live right now. I need a new haircut. Anyways, have a really good night, and thank you for stopping by.